Very Reverend Father Joe Benedict Matthias, Rector of St. Peter's Pontifical Seminary, Reverend Father Benny O'Donnell, the Director of Indian Institute of Spirituality, Reverend Father Jolly Chakalakal, Dean of Philosophy at the Suvidya College, Reverend Father Philip, the Dean of this reputed institute, Reverend Father Anthony, the Venerable Spiritual Director of this institute, Reverend Father Jigson, the Administrator of this IIS, my dear superiors of the students who are studying in this institute, my dear well-wishers of Indian Institute of Spirituality, my dear postgraduate and doctoral students of Indian Institute of Spirituality, and above all, 64 diploma students who have spent precious and enriching time in this institute for a year. Convocation Day is a day of rejoicing. Convocation Day is also called Commencement Day because you are going to commence the fruit of your formation, the holistic formation you have received here. As President of St. Peter's Pontifical Institute and also of Indian Institute of Spirituality, time and again Father Benny reminds us of it. I wish each and every one of you all the best in your subsequent ministry for the Lord. I am always very much impressed by what St. Paul says to the Thessalonians, to the Philippians. My dear people, on the last day, when the Lord is going to come in glory and majesty, you know what is going to be our joy, our crown, our glory. It is you, my dear people, to whom I preach the gospel. He says this to the Philippians, he says it to the Thessalonians. Indian Institute of Spirituality is looking at you, 64 of the diploma students, and says with conviction, you are our glory, you are our crown, you are our joy. On this occasion, I have been addressing you quite a lot during the canon law classes, which you were all fully participating in as sympathetic listeners. I want you to be also be absorbed in listening to what I am going to say on this occasion, because I am going only to repeat what the present Holy Father said on December 22nd. Already Father Rector Joe Matthias alluded to some of those things. The Holy Father on December 22nd said about a number of diseases that is afflicting today's church at different level. Roman Curia not spared, congregations, churches, parishes, institutions, provinces. If through the formation you have received here, you are able to find the cure, then Indian Institute of Spirituality will be rejoicing. For want of time, out of the 15 diseases the Holy Father spoke about, I am going to highlight only 9 diseases now. Some of you might have already heard about it, but I have also put in my own reflections with the help of the Holy Scripture. I often say, I fell in love with Holy Scripture but married canon law. It is not an unhappy marriage after all. Okay, the first disease is the disease of being immortal, immune and indispensable.
Some of us think like that, what will happen to this institution or this community or this province if I go elsewhere? During the course of my teaching, I told you, you should be like postage stamps. Stick where you are pasted, go wherever you are posted. That should be your attitude. Sometimes we think like that, like a bird lying on its back, shaking its legs. Another bird asked its wings, what are you doing? I am holding the sky in my leg. Suddenly a dry leaf fell on it. Immediately it flew for life. That's how some of us are filled with this mentality. Mother Teresa beautifully said, I am a broken pencil in the hands of God. It is He who holds me. He writes. Everything is His. If we can have this mentality, the Holy Father told us, go to the cemetery and look at the graves and see the people who thought they are immortal, indispensable. Nobody is indispensable. The Lord who existed, the St. Peter's Pontifical Seminary, which existed before I stepped in, will continue to exist even without me. Nobody is indispensable. That means you will be ready to move. None of those who studied in Indian Institute of Spirituality should have a messianic complex of holding on to the congregation or province, thinking without them it will die. No, never think of it. The second disease, the disease of excessive activity. I spoke about apostolaholics, not alcoholics, apostolaholics. These apostolaholics make the community as a springboard, no time for prayer only. They build their own Tower of Babel and come to a crash. So this is another disease. Father Joe spoke about intimate union with the Lord to get the spirit of compassion from Him. One day I came, evening, I wanted to talk to the sisters, and then it was really marvelous when a bishop accompanied me and all of you were praying, drawing strength from the Eucharistic blood. Whether you prayed before so much in the congregation or not, Indian Institute of Spirituality formed you in intense union with the Lord. It was really wonderful. Though I might have been disappointed, internally I was rejoicing that they spent so much time in prayer, accompanied by the formators, by the postgraduate fathers. Marvelous exercise. Please do not become apostolaholics. It is worse than becoming alcoholics. Give Jesus His due. Sit at the feet of the Lord like Mary. And the third disease, bad coordination. During the course of this Silver Jubilee year, you participate in so many of the functions, working together. It is not so difficult to work under others. It is not difficult to work for others. It is always difficult to work with others. Pope John Paul II repeatedly spoke about religious being experts in communion. I spoke about one superior. She is so good to the priest. One of the sisters commented she is good only to the priest. To the sisters of the congregation, she is a terror. It should not happen. Among yourselves, working together. Jesus sending the disciples 2 by 2. Communion. Communion is the model. Today people are individualistic. You are called to be experts in communion. And then the disease of spiritual Alzheimer, forgetfulness. Even in the document that the Holy Father gave for the year of religious, the first point he emphasized was, think of your own salvation history. Think of the salvation history of your congregation, of your province. One of my favorite passages is from Deuteronomy, 8th chapter. When you are going to build the big houses, when your ox, when your flock, everything going to multiply. Do not be proud in your heart and think that your power has accomplished all this. Remember the Lord who led you through the desert, who fed you with manna, and who was with you. Remember your humble beginnings. Each one of us must
remember our own salvation history. Do not become proud in your heart. When I heard about Holy Father speaking about Alzheimer, it seems a priest was asked by God, like David of old, you have committed some crimes, so I want to punish you with some disease. You choose. Do you want Alzheimer or Parkinson's? Choose one of the two. Alzheimer, Parkinson's, people will be shaking, so much. The priest chose, it seems. I rather prefer Parkinson's, not Alzheimer. Why you are choosing Parkinson's disease, not Alzheimer's disease? So if I have Parkinson's, even if my hand shakes, I will be able to drink at least something. Drink. But if it is Alzheimer, then I do not know where I kept the bottle. I do not know where I kept the bottle. So he chose, it seems. So do not forget that your heart should be in the Lord, and the Lord who has guided you all along should be your source of support in the coming years. The other thing is the disease of rivalry and vain glory. So the church is afflicted so much by it. The congregations, I was teaching you about Karen 626. Superiors, while appointing to offices, and members, while electing others to offices, are to choose those whom in the Lord they find suitable. They are not to show any preference of persons. They should not canvass for votes either for themselves or for others. But what is happening in many congregations? Power, position. Power, position. That is the disease. That is the disease today. Rivalry, vain glory. The words of the Lord are clear. During the Lenten season, these passages come again and again. It can be like that among the Gentiles. It should not be so among you. One who wants to be the greatest must be the servant of all. How far you are contributing to the community by humble service, with charity. The demon of ambition must give way to pastoral love. The demon of success must give way to fidelity. That is what the Lord is asking for. Being trained here, I am sure you will be able to overcome that disease also. Then the reason of existential schizophrenia. Duplicity, double life. Appearing before others as saintly, but God knows what you are. There should be correspondence between your thought and speech. There should be agreement between what you speak and what you do. What you do. Acts 5th chapter. They pretended before the world, Ananias and Sapphira, that they are giving the whole thing. But in fact, they withheld something. What is the punishment? Death. We pretend before the world, but that we give ourselves totally, but we hold back something without the knowledge of others. But nothing is hidden before the Lord. That is another disease. Be authentic, be credible. I am sure the formation here also would have helped you. Then another disease, the disease of gossip and chatter. Holy Father speaks about murder is now caused by gossip only. St. Paul says, writing to the Ephesians, those who hear you must grow in virtue and holy behavior. Your words should be such. You have heard about it again and again. Is it true? Is it charitable? Is it useful? Never spoil another person's name. Have the mentality of Joseph. Even if that person had committed a mistake, not wanting to expose it publicly, parade other people's secret mistakes publicly. You can never repair the harm done to the reputation of the person. That is another disease inflicting the church. And then the disease of indifference. Different world cannot be created by people who are indifferent. A different world. Do not consider people as part of the landscape. What mistake the rich man did towards Lazarus? For him, he did not exist, that's all. The priest and the Levite who passed by the Samaritan, they did not go and pick up what was left there. They just ignored, that's all. Some of us think our community members are part of the landscape. They are lifeless objects. Christianity is a religion of positive interest in the well-being of others, contributing every day through prayer and action for the growth of everyone. You can't be indifferent and be a religious. And finally, as Father like already said, another disease is religious life is lived as a cemetery, funeral faces. Many of us are having a funeral face. Nobody who meets you, who lives with you, should become more sad because of your presence there. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again I say I rejoice. That is our mantra. Religious life must be lived in joy the whole year. That's what we are repeatedly told. Religious life is for joy, the joy of consecrated life. My dear sisters, in this year of religious, in this year of the jubilee of this institute, you are really privileged to be part of this institute. Not because I happen to be associated with you closely. I can tell in front of anybody, any audience, within 1 year, such a holistic formation is not given any other institute known to me, though I am associated with some other institutes also. Let us be grateful to God. We rejoice and we also send you out like IIS has accepted you as mother. Now your respective congregations become for us mother-in-law, father-in-law. You may think that is your real home. We send you out. A ship in a harbor of IIS may be safe. Ships are not made for this purpose. Ships are not made for this purpose. They are to be launched into and bring glory to IIS, bring glory to St. Peter's. And I really appreciate the MSFS congregation, the vision of Father Anthony Kolancheri, Father Anthony Mukundatam, and the present director, Father Benny Kutanal, and of course the collaborator, Father Philip, Father Jixon. All of you contribute every day for your joy, your meaningful life of authentic and credible discipleship under the footsteps of the Lord. Wish you all the best. Thank you so much.